Oh, yay!
Yay!
We learned something new today.
Okay, hold on. Let me turn up the volume. Okay, so I'm outside. I'm in the car because I just had to get out of the house.
Oh, sorry.
Four children. It's kind of like, oh my gosh.
My four children are having lunch with my husband right now. So here's to hoping they don't run past the office banging on the door.
But it's okay if they do.
Because
that's what working mamas do.
That's right.
So they come first. So no big deal. Oh my goodness. Okay, let me introduce you guys. I'm going to cry because I'm so freaking excited. Hold on, let me.
Oh my gosh, you're so
Okay, this is Jennifer. You guys know. I'm getting emotional because she started her business like around the same time that I kind of launched She Works Heartily last year, like around April, May-ish, right? Wait, when did you start?
Yes. April, May. Yep.
Yeah, last year. And so we're still kind of like under the 1 year mark, but oh my gosh, you guys, wait till you hear her story. She's gonna blow you away, blew me away. Because you don't really hear about like what, first year in business success. But here you are. You're amazing. Okay. So Jennifer, she started Togather, right?
That's right. Yes.
Okay. So tell us about it. How did you come up with this idea? What inspired you?
Yes. And hi to everybody out there who hopped on for Josephine's call. Thanks for doing that, guys. Okay, so Togather is a mealtime game, and it is a solution to all those times where you wish you could outsource your communication and make those little moments meaningful and get more than a one-word answer and just create those conversations that go deeper, because we all want them within our families, within our relationships. And we are just swamped with distractions, and it is so hard to make those moments happen authentically. So this has been a 3-year journey, you all. So for those of you who are making products out there, don't get discouraged when it takes a long time. My idea came to me in spring of 2016, and we went to church went to a lunch after church, and I just, this had been on my heart for a long time. We have 4 children, like I mentioned before, and we are always busy, 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 busy. And we are getting into the very busy season right now, especially my oldest is 11. She's in 6th grade. But basically, I walked out of that restaurant after seeing so many families disconnected around the table, and I looked at my husband and said, there has got to be a better way. I don't want this to be us in, 4 years, because we're all so crazy. And, it's easier to hand your child the phone at the table or whatever, or it's easier to just come and go in the house because, I got to get her to soccer practice. You worry about dinner with these kids, yada, yada. So I set out to just come up with a solution, really to see what I could do for our family. I have a teaching background. I taught homeschool, or I taught high school, and then I ended up teaching for a homeschool community, a co-op group, for 5 years. So I've taught for a while, and I don't homeschool my
teachers.
I know, yay! I don't homeschool my own children, but I love that community a whole lot. Anyway, with that being said, I have a heart for teenagers and junior high kids and all of that. So anyway, I just slowly started developing all these questions that I knew would get people to talk. If you ask the right conversation prompts, you're going to get people to talk. So that was over a full year. And then at the beginning of the summer of 2017, I had made a prototype just for our family. Mm-hmm. And I thought, we're going to take this to a restaurant and see what happens. So we did. And it was fun. We all had a good time. It's a sticker game. So what you do is you pass a book, you choose a category, you peel the stickers, and they all have a prompt. And they're designed to get past those one-word answers, and they really do work. And so basically what I did was I just, at the beginning of summer of 2017, I thought, I'm going for this. So there's a whole lot we can talk about if you want, but I decided to go for it. And so I set out to create the product. And picked it up from my printer in last May, and we went live, and I started selling online in my togothermoments.com shop. And I'm in 5 retail locations right now.
I love it. I love it so much. That just like amazes me.
Oh gosh, thank you. It's,
yeah.
You know, it's just one tiny step in front of the other. That's what it is. And that's what anybody would say. But, you know, it's not always easy. That's for sure.
No, it's not. But I love, so I think the reason why I like love this from the beginning when I first found you is because I'm kind of getting into that season. I mean, my oldest is like 8 years old. And anytime we go into a restaurant, like I see families, and I'm not trying to be judgmental. I get it. Sometimes you just have to give them like, you know, the iPad or whatever so they can calm down and not make a scene in public. But same thing, like I don't want to get there. And like,
yes.
You know, just not have conversation with like my family. And that whole like one word answer, like, oh my gosh, speaking to like my heart right here. Because like I'm a full-time teacher. And my kids go to my school. I'm their music teacher. And, you know, we come home, like we're driving home and I'm like, oh, how was your day? Good. Like, and they're only in elementary and it's like, well, what's going to happen when they're in middle school? So okay. You know, and so I think this is like, this is so needed in such a disconnected, you know, world that we live in today. Like we're disconnected from each other, but we're so like connected to our devices. So I think
it's
so
that face-to-face element that is missing. If we don't practice it and we don't model it and know how to get to that point of getting past that surface. If we don't do that, we're all going to wake up one day and be like, what the heck happened? We don't even know each other. And it's just it's an important thing to. So
you saw a need in the market. You saw a need, and so you decided to fill it.
I did, yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so where do you mentioned that so one thing that caught my attention, you said you have your own website. So you did not start on Etsy. You just went for it on your own website.
Oh, yeah. I don't do anything on Etsy, yes. Okay, so cool. For those of you who have products out there, I knew that this was going to be, I wanted control over the product, and I have a bigger vision for Togather than it just being a product. I think it's such a good opportunity to join forces with other people over time and just really help people to connect on that face-to-face level. So there's a big vision for Togather, and I wanted it to be my own website. So yes, I use Squarespace. Squarespace is super simple. And for those of you who are like, I don't know what I'm doing, guess what? I don't either. I've only been at this for like live with a website for a little under a year. I don't know everything. I just figure it out as I go, and I reach out to people and say, hey, how do I do this? What do I do? What do you know about, you know, analytics on my Squarespace account or whatever. I use ShipStation to ship everything, which is super easy. But again, I didn't know that at first. I don't do it right every time. There's probably some things I don't do super efficiently on there, but you know, I try to make it work. So I wanted control over the whole brand, which is why I didn't go to Etsy. I don't think Etsy's anything. There's nothing wrong with Etsy. A lot of people have told me maybe get on there. And I think that's such a simplified way to do it. And lots of people succeed on Etsy. But for me, I just did it the other way. Plus, I didn't feel like my product was maybe a natural fit on Etsy. But
I get it. Yeah. I get it. Yeah, because it's like people don't go to Etsy looking for something like something like that.
Right.
You know, like Etsy's more like, oh, let me look for like bows or rosaries or like
more homemade things, which mine was created in my home, but it's printed at a printer. But
and I think it's like very unique. Like, I mean, it's like a game. Kind of like,
yes, it's in the form of a book. It has fold-out sticker pages, so there's a little more detail to it. But
I mean, I wouldn't go on Etsy looking for like a family game.
Right.
Like I would like go on Amazon or something.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, Etsy,
So
I think that's a good call. Like Etsy was not like the right platform for your product.
yeah, so I think that's a good point. Like anytime you have a product, you got to really think of, I think the first thing I worked through was who is my customer?
Yes.
Personify this customer,
Yeah.
bring a name to the person, say what their job is, what their desires are, what they do in their free time. And then you'll know where they're supposed to be because you'll get in that person's head and you'll think, oh, okay, this is the right place I should be selling it. Or if I want to jump into retail, this is the shop where my person shops. And when you think, no, this product's for everybody, it's really not for everybody. I mean, at first I
Yeah.
remember saying that to my husband when I thought, I have this idea and I think everybody will buy it because everyone sits around the table and they all want to talk with each other. And then when we started talking about it, I'm like, well, actually, it's not for everybody
Yeah.
because they're not my ideal customers.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I think it's super important to name your customer and
Mhm.
really identify what market that they're shopping in.
Yeah, girl. Oh my gosh. Yes. I talk about this all the time, like the importance of like knowing who you are, like who your person is, like who you're gonna serve before you can like, oh my gosh, let me hit all the social media like platforms. No, your person's not in all of them.
Yes. And I think when you have a product, that's something that you really have to really be okay with because, you can't take that personally when
Yes.
the people who you think should be buying aren't buying.
Mhm.
Or, with a product, they say that you have to be exposed to something for 7 times before you purchase it. And I mean, I'm thinking of myself and, how often do you have like a tab pulled up on your phone because it was something you wanted to buy? You saw it on
Mhm.
sale, you're like, awesome, I'm gonna go get it.
Yeah.
And then
You don't.
it's still sitting there because you
Yeah.
never made it back, even though you love it and you love the brand. It's reality. So, people buy when they're ready.
So you have your that's true. People do buy when they're ready. So you have your website, that's where you sell. And then what are the stores that you sell at?
Okay, so back to who is my ideal customer.
Mhm.
I'm in 5 different retail locations. 3 of them are toy stores only,
Okay.
and 2 of them are boutiques.
Okay. So
Um,
these are local or are they like national chains too?
well, one is Learning Express, which is a
I've heard of that.
national,
Yeah.
it's a franchise toy shop, but they're locally owned. So they
Okay.
make their decisions. Local. So that would be my recommendation. If you sell a product, reach out to your local stores first. You're locally owned. First of all, the hoops, it's very hard to jump through hoops of
Mhm.
a big national store right away. But you all, local stores love selling local products. They
Yeah.
do. I mean, that feeds their hearts. I'm just telling you, every local shop I walk into, they're like, oh, you created this down the road? That's so cool because they love to tell their customers that. And customers are coming to them because they like local. So they're
Mhm.
going to like local products as well. People think that's really neat. So I would definitely hit up your local shops and really try to connect on that. And a little advice I'll give you is I'm still learning a whole lot about retail, but retail shops do prefer buying your product at 50% off your retail price.
Okay.
So if you have a $40 product, they want to buy it for 20.
Yeah.
So if you're making it for $18, that's probably not, retail is probably not your spot yet. However, local retail stores are more willing to work with their retail product designers and pay more. They will pay more for a local product because they realize you're getting started. You're not at that's called keystone pricing. You're not at keystone pricing yet because your
Mm.
margins aren't the greatest
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you're
yeah.
still trying to figure it out. So if you need advice to get into retail, I would just address that. That's going to be an objection from your retailer. So address that up front and say, hey, I'm going to be honest with you, I can't hit keystone pricing yet. However, I do think that this is a great fit for your customers. I think that, You'll love this. You'll love talking about this, whatever it is. And my goal as I grow and scale is to hit that pricing for you because I want to be at industry standards. It's just that right now is not my time. I can't make it there. And I have not had a problem with that at all.
So cool.
My 5 retail shops pay a lot more than Keystone, and they have not balked, and they've come back for reorders many times. So
love it. Oh my gosh. Okay, so you mentioned Learning Express. That's the national one, and then the rest are there locally.
Yes. So one is an hour north of me, and she found me at a little event I did last summer. I shouldn't say little. It was, that people say don't call it little.
Yes.
It was a pop-up shop. Not a craft thing, but anyway, I was there and she walked up to me and said, "Hey, I have a store. I think your product would do great there." And she stayed in touch with me. So that was pretty cool because she found me. And then I live in northern Kentucky. Indianapolis is about a 2-hour drive from my house, and my husband does work there. So one day I had reached out to a couple toy stores there, and I said, "Hey, I talked to this toy store. They're not getting back to me, but I think Together is a really great fit for them." And I gave him a display box of my games all packaged, ready to go. And I said, "Walk in and sell them." And he called me and said they just bought 6 of them.
Love it.
So I sent my husband to do that for me. But anyway, Girl Boss Events. Hi, Ashley, if that's you. She just popped in and she did the pop-up shop last summer. So I don't know if you heard me, but Zigzag Gallery in Centerville is selling Together because of your event last summer.
Oh,
so
I love it.
Ashley.
Oh my gosh.
I know,
that's
isn't that
awesome.
I get to thank
That's cool.
you.
So you guys were at the same event? Oh
no, Girl Boss Events is the event. She put it all together in Cincinnati. She's doing great things for all girl-owned businesses in our area.
Cool.
Yeah.
They're in Kentucky?
I'm in Kentucky, and I will jump into something. You said what would be more advice for people trying to get into retail?
Probably like your biggest learning moment that you had, that if you if you had someone like you dump all their knowledge, what would be like the biggest one?
Okay, so gosh, that's a loaded question.
I know it is.
But I have 2 points that I would say. It's already a no before you ask, so don't be afraid to ask. It's already a no. Your product's already not in their shop, so just go ask, right? Because if they say no,
I love that advice.
Well, it's still not there. So if they say no, just keep working it. But don't ever burn those bridges because they might come back and tell you. I just had one of my local retailers in Cincinnati. It's a cute little toy shop. It's awesome. It's called King Arthur's Court. And he just emailed me and said, "Hey, this rep just stopped in. I think you should reach out to him. I bet he would rep your product for you and take it to other toy stores." So, when you foster those relationships, it might lead to something else. And so that's one. And along the lines of that, the Learning Express, the local Learning Express, has been so good to me and taught me so much about retail. I can call her. She believed in my product. The second I opened it, she said, "Yeah, I want that in here." It was pretty cool. And she believed in me so much, and she has taught me so much. And there is a bookstore right like in the same shopping
complex.
Complex, like 4 stores down from them. It's a big local bookstore. They have I don't know how many locations, 5 to 10 around Kentucky. And they love local. They have all local. I'm sure if I walked in there, they would sell my product today. However, I'm not walking in there right now, and I'll tell you why. Because Kelly at Learning Express has been so good to me. I don't want to put my product in a store 4 stores down from her and compete with her. So even though it's a better business decision for me to get in that store, and I could probably get in 5 stores immediately, and financially that's really good. And I need to evaluate that at some point. However, right now in the beginning, I think it's more important for me to keep that good relationship with Kelly, who's sold 60 plus of my games in there since last May
Mm-hmm.
for me, than to offer competition right down there.
Right.
So I think that that's really important when you're first starting out, is don't
Building
go for
those
the money,
relationships.
build the
Yeah.
relationship. Yep.
Yeah. I love that because, you know, you were talking earlier about like not building, you know, those not burning those bridges, and I totally like 1000% agree with that. Like I am the kind of person that I will never burn a bridge. If you want to burn your bridge with me, that's on you. If you want to build it back up, I'm here and I will welcome you with open arms. I think that is so important in business. And I remember when I first started out, like I was so afraid to approach like, you know, like businesses and partner up with them. But now it's like I will approach anybody, you know, like trying to make those connections and trying to build those bridges and networking. Because you never know. You never know who you're gonna who you can help and who can help you. And
Absolutely.
it's not about like, oh, well, you rub my back and I'll rub yours. It's not about that. It's about, you know, trying to serve like the same like customers that you guys have, you know?
Yes, that's what I would say. If you are, even if you're a service-based business, but if you're a product-based business, I think maybe you don't think about it as much as that, yes, you have to reach out to those people that are serving the same audience. Because
Mm-hmm.
I reached out to someone recently. He's in Texas. He does something similar for businesses. And I said, look, I'm going to be honest. I don't know what we can do together. However, we have the same mission, and I feel like we need to get to know each other. And he agreed. And, you know, we're just going to maintain that relationship and see if there's an opportunity in the future to somehow work together. But I think when you're starting, you just need to network.
Yeah.
Things aren't
Okay.
going to happen naturally.
So, about that, about the whole like networking thing, like you put yourself out there. You like went out and like just got in touch with all these like local, you know, businesses. What was like, what was it like to get over that fear? Because I'm sure, I don't know, maybe I'm assuming that you had some kind of like hesitation, but how did you get over that? Oh my gosh, I'm kind of worried or I'm kind of scared that they're going to say no. Is it just that like, oh, well, it's not there anyway?
Okay, you know what? No, it's there, although every time gets easier and easier. So that very first one, that Learning Express, was thankfully given to me by a reference. So it's a friend of Kelly, the girl that owns it, is not a friend of mine. However, we have a mutual friend. So I emailed her and was like, hey, Kristen told me to contact you and thought that you would be open to meeting with me. And I'd love to see if you're in at 11 o'clock today. I'm going to stop in. So she emailed me back and said, sure, come show me. So I think, you know, that's always so helpful when you're approaching something like retail, for example, is have a common denominator that just lets you say, hey, so-and-so recommend me, or have your friend introduce you, because it just takes the edge off. Because yes, it is scary to put yourself out there, and your product is your baby, and if it's rejected, it's scary and sad, and you get kind of angry because you're like, what, you don't like my product as much as me? But I think that every time is just easier and easier. So I had confidence because this girl believed in me right away, and I saw sales happening there. So then it gave me credibility also to go to my next customer that was local and say, hey, I wanted to let you know I'm selling this at Learning Express. I thought that you would really enjoy to see what I'm doing. And I think your customers would benefit from this and you'd like to share this mission with them, whatever. And so I was able to share it with them. So, you know, that first step is definitely the hardest for sure. But I think you just have to keep going. And I would also say, if you're a product-based business, try to be okay with getting criticism, or, you know, that corrective criticism and suggestive points, because it's not always going to be as perfect. Sometimes I think it's hard because we know our product and brand more than anybody. Yeah. And so it's hard to step away and see the other side.
Yeah, we're too close to it, and this is something that I like talk about a lot. Is like you're too close to your your product or service and you're throwing out words that people don't understand.
Right.
And they're like, what is that? Like, and then they're turned off by it, or they think like it doesn't apply to me when it actually does, but you're not speaking the same language because you're too close to it.
Yes. I think it's so hard to step away. And then just, you know, in anything like this first year, I'll say with launching this, and I had a vision in my head of how this would go and who this would reach. And I prayed about this for the full year, like full 2 years before I launched it. And I just was like, okay, if this is where I'm supposed to be, I'll just do it. And Lord, you lead me where you want me to go. I'm in my husband's office. My office is the dining room because it's just makeshift. Because, you know, I'm a stay-at-home mom working out of my house. But I have a sign up there and it says, lead me, Lord. It's a big wooden sign I got at Hobby Lobby. And I just feel like you just have to be willing to go where you're led and reevaluate along the way. I love the quote that says, if you're not going to work for it, don't pray for it.
Oh, I love that.
Isn't that great? I know, I heard that a while ago. I wrote a whole blog post on it because it just inspired me so much. But it's so true. If you're not going to work for it, don't pray for it. And at the same time, be willing to readjust along the route. So my vision for this has changed so much as I've gotten to understand who my real customers are, because before I launched, they were all imaginary, right?
Yeah.
And the way they speak to me and the stories they share. And I think, wow, I didn't even know my product was going to be used this way. Or I didn't know, you know, they were going to, or whatever. Like you might have thought I could package it this one way, but then it changes into something else. Or you just got to listen to your customers really and adjust along the way.
Yes, I love that. So here's like a little tidbit of information or a fact. Did you know that Instagram started as like this social app called Bourbon, and it's supposed to be kind of like I forget the app, but you check in. It was like a long time ago. I remember using this app. You check into this app and like you check into so many places and you're declared a mayor at that place. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, but
okay. So I think I don't use it anymore, but it used to be like super, let me check into this place. Let me check into this place. Anytime I go. So it used to be like that, something similar to that. But then they noticed that their users, the people who downloaded the app, started using the picture taking aspect of their app more than the checking in aspect of it. And so they were like, okay, well, let's get into the picture side of it. And then now it's evolved into Instagram, like how it is now. And so it's just amazing how what you think that your product is going to be used for is going to be used totally differently by your customer or whatever, by your customers. So yeah, I love that story. I love that part, what you said, that you didn't even think that people were going to use it how you imagined it, and how your vision has changed, and that it's okay for your vision to change. Because sometimes we kind of get into this this is what I want, and then it's all just, like you said, imaginary, or it's all just in our heads, and then you put it into action and it just changes everything. You don't really know until you take action.
Yeah, I know. And I would say with a product thing too is sometimes your ideal perfect design that you have in your head is not even, it can't even be created in a real way in real life for whatever reason, right? So you have to readjust along the way once your prototype becomes real and you see, mine is in print. So I actually was going to have some, not cellophane, I don't know if that's what it is, like a translucent paper in between my things. And it was impossible to print it that way, pretty much an impossible process to achieve. So we had to take that out of the initial design. But
you tested it.
I tested it with glue in my house.
Oh.
Yes.
I love it.
But it couldn't actually be bound in a book, so it didn't work.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Okay. Well, it's already 1 o'clock. So I kind of want to wrap this up because I want to respect your time because I said we'd be like around 30 minutes. Wait, what was one more question that I had? Oh, what are some ways that you're taking action in your business right now?
Oh, great question. So, right now we're coming upon a year and I've been reevaluating everything and I'm trying to outsource a few things more than I had been doing. I realized that will get me to the next step. So I have someone that, a virtual assistant, who is helping me like do some of my Pinterest stuff. And after a year, I'm just getting started on that. I don't have time to do all that by myself. So I haven't even entered some of those arenas.
Yeah.
So I realize now, okay, if we're going to get to the next level, I need to do that. And honestly, one big thing that's happening in our lives is just looking at our home and if this business is going to scale, what things need to change in our own home life to run a business out of it. Because I'm a mom of four, a wife of a traveling husband. We're home a lot together, but it's chaos a lot. So right now we're in the process of like, you know, setting our house up, making it organized, getting all these
to run your business.
Yes. And I think that that's an important thing to step back. And I feel like God is really preparing us in that way, just kind of slowing down business to make us step back and see, okay, if this takes off, are you mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically prepared? And the answer has been no, honestly, because I'm running this out of my dining room, which is working, but it needs to be set a little more organized, you know, and I need to have more efficiency in my process of shipping everything out and how I get it ready and things like that. So I think that that's how I'm trying to take action in my business right now. I think we all have to really, it's exciting and we all want those Shark Tank moments.
Yeah.
But I think it's a blessing when we don't have them and we can really prepare ourselves.
I love that. What you were saying earlier about how prepare yourself. Wait, what did you say about preparing yourself for what you're praying for? Is that what you said?
Oh, if you're not willing to work for it, don't pray for it.
That's right. It's so funny that you mentioned that because I think it was just yesterday. I was scrolling through Instagram and I forgot who posted this. Something along those lines, like prepare me for what I'm praying for. I'm like, gosh, that just hits me. Like that's hit me so close to home because sometimes we just ask and ask and ask God, but we're not ready. And then we get mad at God for not answering our prayers. Like, no, you're not ready.
I
think
know.
like being able to so I love that you involve God in like every aspect. Like you pray about this, you pray about that. And I think that's like, no, I know that that's why you've been so successful is because God's hand has been in every aspect of your business. I mean, like, I don't know how that's possible, you know, other than the Holy Spirit and God's hand. Yeah.
I think God will, like, he wants to protect us along the way too and make sure that joyfully, Jackie, it is true, isn't it?
That's my sister.
Oh, hi, Jackie.
That's my sister.
Yeah, if we're all living our lives for a higher purpose, then why wouldn't we think that our business and our job is the same way? And it's okay to make money and have a productive, profitable business. Yes. But I also think we just need to keep God at the center and make sure we're doing everything's lined up that way, which is why I think he's protecting me on the home front and being like, all right, you got to get your in order here. Yeah. He's probably not saying it like that, but you got to get this in order because if you desire to work this the way I think you can, then
I know.
That's cute. That's cute.
But
but I just think that we need to step back and make sure we're doing it the right way.
I'm getting teary because God is just like awesome.
No, you're too sweet. I love that.
Oh,
Thank you for having me on here and inviting me, Josephine.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
I'm happy we got to connect this way.
when I first like found your Instagram, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need this in my life. And it was like, I don't know, at the time when when I just started the Instagram account for She Works Heartily, I was like, I need to like, you know, get together with together. I need to get together with like, all of these like, businesses and just partner up with them. But I found yours, like it hit me like personally. I was like, gosh, I need
No.
this in my life with my family, because in like 4 or 5 years, this is where we're gonna be at. My kids are gonna be teenagers and teenage girls. I'm not there yet, but if my kids are and my kids are like mini versions of me, then I have a lot of like penance coming my way. So I was like, I need this. But anyway,
Oh.
I love what you've done. I love that you've taken action and you've just like, involved God in every aspect. And it's amazing. I hope that this has helped with, for others who are watching and with product-based businesses. Thank you, Jennifer, for like agreeing to do this. And I know people get so like shy about getting on video. Thank you for running with my crazy idea of going on live.
Well, thanks for inviting me. It was fun.
Yay. Okay. Well, I will let you go.
All right. Thanks,
I will
Josephine.
talk to you later.
All right. Sounds good.
Bye.
Bye.